Okay, so we are live talking about The Well of Ascension tonight. Gorgeous cover. I love these books so much. They're so pretty.
Actually, there was a cover or someone linked to that I thought was so beautiful. I'll see if I can find it while you do the intro. Sorry for interrupting, Mel.
No, you're right. So pretty books. They're very nice to touch as well. They've got a very nice feel. Anyway, yes, I'll gush over those a little bit. Look, guys, I took notes.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Hang on, let me click that. Wait, go. Nice one. Nice one. That's what I was doing just before. I always just pull up my notes. I
always do that as well.
So because I've been trying to, like, the books that I really want them on my shelves. So I've had to come up with a way for myself to do notes. This time it actually worked. Let's see if it works next time. Okay, so we're talking about Well of Ascension. Since it's just the three of us, I don't think we'll get all formal or anything. I think we'll just go for it, hey?
Sure. Yeah, I'm not even going to put my name down the bottom of it.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I don't tend to for the land.
And I'm going to continue eating my dinner, so...
Please do.
You go for that.
I don't tend to for the Land Down Under ones because we usually know each other well enough by then that it's not so important.
Yeah, yeah. And normally people who are watching are... are people, as opposed to versional fantasy where we just get people going, oh, I wonder what that's about.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I'm not even sure. I haven't tested it, but I'm curious to know whether or not you can watch it live if you're not part of the Land Down Under group.
I don't know. I think it depends on the setting that you determine, but it does say you can't watch the. Sorry, Moose. You can't watch it after the event because I've been logged in as another Google account and tried to watch it, and I can't do that. You have to be part of the group too, even though it's a private link.
That's something I do. That's something I do in the settings. After we finish, I go to the video settings and I change it to private, and then put our circle in as able to watch it. So that's something I do after. When it's live, I'm not so sure what the settings do. I know that nobody can get in, and I know that it's not on the public listed page because it's not public. It's not a public access one. But whether you can watch it if you're not part of the group or not, I don't know. Like the way I put the link up with. Anyway, one day I'll run a test and we'll see. Can't be bothered today. Anyway, so general thoughts, guys.
Well, Jean's eating dinner. G looks like, I'm not sure what she's having, but it looks nice. Can't wait.
Oh.
I'll go first, just keep things interesting. I really enjoyed it. In some ways, I didn't enjoy it as much as the first book. I think in the first book, I enjoyed the moving around the locations. That for me I always enjoy that. Sometimes when I feel like I'm stuck in one place with characters, I feel stuck, and in this, you are stuck because literally they're under siege.
Yeah.
I really loved how Vince developed. I haven't edited it together yet because I'm waiting for my internet to really help me upload it. I loved the relationship with the dog Kendra. That was my favorite freaking part of the whole entire book. And just, I'm so sad when he or she had to leave for reassignment. So I am hoping to see them again.
Yes.
I thought it was interesting the people that they killed off. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I got a sense. I felt like foreshadowing was standing in the background on a few things, which on the first one I hadn't seen coming as much. It was a really great setup and a great surprise for the first one, whereas on this one I saw some of it coming. What else was there? I wasn't sure. I'm still not sure about Elend. I'm not sure about the romance. See how it goes. But Zaid, I call him Zaid. I know some call him Zaid. I really loved his development too. And actually, I have a theory I want to share with you guys as we go through to see what you guys think about that. And what was her name? His friend who became
Swindle.
Yeah, Tyndall. She was great. Again, I don't know. She grew on me in a way that other characters hadn't. So, yeah. And there's other characters I would like to get to know a bit more. I really enjoyed getting to know Breeze more. That was really great. And it was interesting seeing the inner workings of the other kings, I guess, was good. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. I think, G, you said in the first hangout that I watched was the first book wrapped up really nicely, where it came to this lovely conclusion where you like, I want to explore more of this world, but I don't feel like I've been left hanging, whereas this one definitely had that Empire Strikes Back, I've been left hanging feeling.
Oh, that's exactly what I was just thinking.
Yes. Exactly. So, yeah, and I'm like going, and I was also kind of going, so part of it was like, God damn it, you know. But, yeah, and I'm going to be interested to see how that third one goes. So, over to one of you.
Do you want me to go now while I haven't got a chop in my mouth?
Yes, go while you're
chops. I thought they were chops.
they're cutlets. Nom 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 nom.
Stop it.
Oh, there was something. Oh, you said you enjoyed getting to know some of the characters and like Breeze more, and I thought it just struck me when you said that I was too busy suspecting them all as the Kandra the whole way through. Every single one of them. Like, even when she ruled them out, I was like, because Tensoon, who is the name of the dog Kandra, the one who took over, he kept dropping hints about Kandra and what they were capable of, and because we didn't really know what they were capable of, or I didn't know what he was like, whether he was telling her the truth, and so I suspected everyone the whole time, which annoyed the crap out of me. And I think at one stage I actually suspected it was Sazed, and I got really, really upset.
Yes.
When he called the meeting, I was like, no, not him. And then it was like the next chapter where we found out who it was. But I had this whole dreading moment because he was the one person I didn't expect or didn't want it to be. And just that, the dodgy calling of the meeting really like put me on edge. So I was like, thank God for that afterwards. I had read another series just before this, and one of the books from this series was a siege book as well, and they spent the entire time in siege in this castle. But it was about the third of the size of this one, and much more exciting, which I think coloured how I viewed this. I felt trapped in that place for way too long. I felt like the book really, not a lot happened, whereas like in the first one, they were so busy organising this revolution thing, and this one just dragged for me, and I was a bit like second bookitis. I keep saying it. Every now and again, you have a really awesome first book, and then the second book, which kind of like you need it there, but it's just not as exciting, but it leads up to the third one, which hopefully will be just as exciting as the first. So
I always feel like it's hard for the second book to live up to the first book anyway, because the first book is so exciting because there's this new world and there's so many wonderful things, and it's just hard for a second book to live up to that.
Yeah, so I felt a bit like that, but I've still got high hopes for the third one, and by about the last 20% of the book, it got more exciting to the point of where I was expecting the book to be when I first started it, you know.
Yeah. It was hard to put down.
Same level of excitement as the first book.
Yeah. My last about 200 pages, I was just like, I was reading at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. And I highlighted a few bits, but I'll read those out a bit later if you like. We didn't speak about Zane at all, neither of us. He was interesting, and I was more hopeful for the relationship between him and Vin than I was for Elend and Vin, which was kind of strange for a while there. And yeah, I've got that same feeling with Elend as well. I'm not too sure about him. Like, I really like him as king, but I don't know if him and Vin really fit
are a good match.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, her putting on dresses.
Although now he's
Parliament.
Although now he's snapped. That's going to be interesting.
I want to speak more about that as well, but we should probably do that later as a discussion.
Yeah.
No!
Yeah, go.
I'm so shocked at how completely the opposite I am to you guys on the whole Elena thing. I hated Zane. I wanted to kick him. The whole time I was just like, dude, you're insane. Go away.
He's not really, though.
No, he wasn't in the end, obviously. But, like, he was still sort of awful. I really didn't like him at all. He was just manipulative and awful. And to me, like, he kept going on about how Ellen couldn't understand and all that sort of stuff. And I'm a big believer that in relationships you don't have to be the same, that you can have different qualities that complement each other. And I personally think that that's one of the things that was good about Ellen and Vin for me. And she just needed to get over her stupid insecurities, but then he wasn't doing much to help with that. So for me, I was just like, no, honey. Yeah, he's like you. Yeah, he understands what you like. That doesn't make him the right person for you. But that's how I felt about it. Anyway, but then, of course, I like Ellen because he's a book reader. So.
He changed a hell of a lot in this book, though, didn't he?
He did, but I also sort of respected the changes that he did. Like, I felt like they were necessary and he was doing it for the right reasons and stuff, so I thought it was a good thing. I understood Vin's trepidation about that stuff, but I was like, it's needed. It's something that's good. But, yeah, I enjoyed it, actually. I read it in a reasonably quick time. I had it on my shelf for ages. Like, I was actually not getting very far, like, in the first 100 pages, but once I got past that, I burnt through it. I enjoyed it. But then I always did like The Empire Strikes Back best. Yeah, I enjoyed sort of the exploration of all of the different people. I really wasn't actually surprised about anyone who died apart from Kinwell, and that one I was just basically in tears over. I can't remember his name. Who was the Kendra before we found out what his real name was? Orsair. Like, I totally didn't see that coming at all. I was just like, whoa, that was clever. That was not just writing wise, but because seriously, where else would you hide except for as another Kendra? That makes perfect sense because of the allomancy thing you can detect and stuff. So yeah, I was like, that is the most clever thing. So yeah, I was sad about all of that though, because actually it made me sort of go, oh, well, maybe she would have never developed that same relationship if it had been Corsair instead. So I was just like, oh, I have very mixed feelings over this development, but yeah. It was, I don't know, I found it kind of intense, really, even though it was very long and drawn out, but maybe that's just how fast I read it. So maybe that made a difference.
Can I have a napkin, please?
But yeah, well, it's definitely not as good as the first one. It wasn't as exciting in terms of the level of action and that, but I thought it did a fairly...
It needed it.
Yeah, they needed it plot-wise to show what would happen. Like, I thought it was actually a very good representation of what would have happened after that. I think that it's true to the likely circumstances that would happen there. And the fact that even, like, say, Zed, who of all of them probably should have been able to get over saying Lord Ruler as a proper statement or curse, was still saying it. It sort of goes to show how embedded it all was in their lives, and so how can you expect the people who weren't thinking about these things and just had it happen to them and living at the poverty level to move on easily, it would have been very difficult. So I thought it was good from that respect. I just wanted to kick Finn a lot, though. Really.
Oh dear.
Anyway, what shall we talk about from the book specifically? Specifics.
Specifically.
Any specific areas from your notes you would like to talk about?
I have a funny inkling about the Hero of Ages actually being a Lend, but I think it's only because of the similarity between the name Alendi from
nice.
and Elen. And I keep seeing it and reading it as Alend and Alendi, you know, the same person. But that might just be like drawing wrong. Yeah.
No, it's interesting.
But the thing that's confusing me is that, from what I understood, well, the whole thing with the changing text at the end was brilliant.
What did you say, Mel? It was
brilliant, like how turned out that Stacey had been reading incorrect text all that time because it wasn't in metal and all of that. I thought that was just brilliantly done. But that whole idea then sort of turned around, like you don't really even know what's going on now. We have no idea where the next book's going to go, because to me the Hero of Ages was the one who went into the well and released the well, but now I'm like, well, maybe the Hero of Ages isn't that, and I'm a bit confused about that.
My theory about the Hero of Ages, and again I don't know because of the text that they were trying to find, was actually it was Zaid or Zazed. I thought it was him because of the way he was being described. You know, there was a passage in when he was reading through and trying to work things out and then rushing about the Hero of Ages being tall and being selfless. And it basically was summing up Zaid so perfectly. So I, along with G, I don't think it is Vin. I think it is someone else. And
I'd agree it's not Vin.
Yeah, and I mean, in some ways, then it was good that she didn't, like, even though she released the power, which was bad, it was good because she didn't take it for herself. And so I was reading all those passages, but then I wanted to go back and reread to kind of go, which were the bits that were wrong, which were the bits that weren't.
I really wanted to go back. I haven't had a chance to do it, but I really wanted to go back and read all the bits at the beginning of each chapter and see whether or not...
see if they changed?
Yeah, whether or not it was the text that was changed or whether or not it's the text that was from the original. Because that means that all this time I was actually seeing the original text and not taking it in. That's you, Brandon Sanderson.
I did think, why are they repeating these bits at the beginning that we've already heard about? And they're like,
I knew there was going to be a reason for it because there was a reason in the first book. But I thought it was just calling attention to the work that Tynwell and Zaid have been doing. That's all I kept thinking, was just calling attention to the work they're doing. Yes, I should probably look at this a bit more, but like you said, it's all kind of sporadic. But,
Well, the thing is that in the first book, it was important, but it wasn't important the way it was in this book. It was... I don't know. I don't feel like it was spelt out to you the way this book did with the original text, telling you
this text kind of like debunks the other text as well, almost. Like it's two different points of view.
That's why I wanted to check whether or not it's actually the same as the original or not, because that means it was right underneath my nose the whole time and I didn't notice, and that's so me. I totally wouldn't notice that sort of thing. So, but yeah, it's time consuming to sit down and do that. So I haven't done it. I only finished on Saturday.
Speaking of the text and say Zed finding it, what about Marsh leading to it?
What's going
on with Marsh?
Did you guys read the sample chapter
for the next one?
Yeah,
because I've got the actual book, so I don't have sample chapters.
I don't know if they put a sample chapter in there. Okay, cool.
Yeah. You mean the next? Is there? Oh, you mean at the end of the book? I didn't look for that. Yes, there is prologue. It's only 3 pages.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, well, that opening sentence really says quite a bit, doesn't it?
What's the opening sentence again?
Marsh struggled to kill himself.
Right.
Yeah.
So is he being infected by the spikes or something? What's going on?
I don't know, because
my guess is that the Inquisitors are in some way what is actually the tools, the instruments of whatever was in the well, and changing the text and stuff.
Yeah, right. And the spikes have something to do with it, because
that would explain why they kept the guy prisoner. Sorry, keep going.
No. It's because, you know, what was it? Oh, actually, and this leads me to something I wanted to discuss with you guys, because I have this FYI. So I'm just gonna jump on and say I tried to capture like little reaction moments for this book, which I'm going to edit into like a piece. And one of the reaction moments for me was the bit where I went, "Zane has a spike."
Yes,
like his Inquisitor spike.
I know. And then they were totally dismissed. What the hell?
He's not dead. He's not dead. To kill a thing, you have to pull a spike out. He's got a spike.
Boom! Gee, boom!
He's not dead. That's what I think is definitely saying to us, is that he's not actually dead. They think he's dead, but he's not dead.
But no. Nice one, G. Nice one, of course.
And that is the spike, isn't it? Did he say it was? No, it was.
He said it was here. It was the one in his. He's only had one. It was in the sternum, and he didn't like it because when his cloak did up, it irritated.
And that's why he can hear that person as well, because he can.
Oh,
yes, Mel.
That's what I mean. He's linked to the whole Inquisitors thing.
In the well.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So he wasn't mad. Yeah.
And the fact that the Inquisitors went in and attacked.
Yeah.
And the way the Inquisitors attacked all of Sazed's people, because they're the ones who know all of the prophecies and everything about the Well of Ascension. So they went and
slaughtered them. Yeah, that's right.
I'm actually wondering, this is something that I've got a possible thought about, whether or not they didn't just slaughter them, but whether or not they're converting them.
I thought the same thing too.
Yeah.
I think that's probably exactly what they're doing. They're trying to find the keepers and converting the keepers.
Yeah, get their numbers up, so because the guy can control you, because obviously he's controlling Marsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem is, Marsh is struggling, and the problem is I've never really liked Marsh as a character, but now I have to feel bad for him. As much as the
thing was, I liked Marsh better once he became an Inquisitor. I thought he was kind of, you know, once he was an Inquisitor, he was kind of cool and kind of, you know, worth having around. And I even liked his mysterious side of, you need to go now, and, you know, disappearing and stuff. I was kind of like, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
But it's interesting, like, I originally thought Marsh taking Sazed to the Inquisitor's location after I finished the book, I originally thought, oh, that's him trying to manipulate Sazed in some way, and then I was like, actually, no, it was him trying to tell him to prevent things, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Indeed.
So, speaking about the deaths earlier, I actually think he chose very carefully who he killed during the battle.
Yeah.
Because it seemed to me that killing off Doxson and who was the other guy?
Clubs, they were the ones that you had the least personal influence with. Like, we were really attached to Ham, and we're really attached to Ham.
Yeah.
And Breeze. I'm attached to Breeze now, and so killing them off would have been almost too much.
Yeah, I think it was, he hasn't had George R.R. Martin point of view where you do have a character explaining stuff and then they die. You know, it's not like, you know, if we get a third person perspective, so that's I mean, Mel.
Breathe.
Have some more water.
Don't keel over on air.
God.
I'm okay. Sorry.
Okay, good. You've got the same colour as your t-shirt.
The water went down my windpipe, so my body was like, no, expel. Sorry.
Anyway, to the point that, G was worried about people being the Kandras before, I knew that anytime we got a perspective, they couldn't be that. So I knew, Breeze. The one I kept thinking in my head was maybe Ham, because we're close to him and yet we never got a perspective from him. And the other one was Spook. Those are the two I kind of were in my head, even though she was testing them, I was kind of going Spook, also because he just showed up and he'd come from the outside. Yeah. He was actually one in my head for most of the time. And he also seemed to be awkward, like he was trying to, it could be a teenage thing, but it also could be a Kandra trying to work out like a teenager should be interested in girls kind of thing. I thought it was a kind of a nice kind of throwaway there. But Doxson, I kind of, when it happened, I was like, oh yeah, should have seen that coming, because he really made Doxson quite unlikable in this one. Just by the way he was with Lind, and there was just quite a bit of stuff I was like going, yeah, I should have seen, we weren't attached. It wasn't like a George R. R. Martin thing where you get quite attached to characters and then he kills them off. I was like, oh yeah, that's fine. And Clubs, in all fairness, I actually quite like Clubs, but Clubs had kind of needed, poor guy, he couldn't keep going. I mean, how old was he? It's just like, he must have been in his 80s or something, comparatively, because he was so old.
And he was a smoker. It was like the revolution was done now. We don't need a smoker anymore.
Well, not only that, like especially Vin was showing that smokers don't necessarily work entirely, and it's bad to rely upon it. So
yeah, exactly.
So Tyndall, in that battle, Tyndall dying was the big one, in my opinion. Like it was the one that was supposed to wrench you and stuff. But if anybody does see why he's done it, says it, come on, he's had his balls chopped off.
I know, but I think it's a trial. I think that's why in my head I keep thinking this is to me. I think that's why Zaid could be the hero of ages, because this is a trial. Like he's being put through the ringer a little bit, and can he come out the other side? And that's kind of, that's where my head's going with it, But I can also see the Elendi, someone also, Elend is very much selfless. He really does want to lead the people. He's not about it for himself. So they're two very good options for the hero of ages.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I really want to read the third one, but I'm like, no, you've got to wait. Not yet. What do you mean you've got to wait? After this, I'm going to get straight into it. No, because I've got to read the next book for next month first. And I told myself that because I wasn't reading any Sword and Laser, that I was going to read something that I thought Sword and Laser should be reading. So I got something else out of my shelf and went, you're reading this. That's why I read the Vaginal Fantasy book so early, because I was like, if I get that out of the way, then I've probably got about 2 weeks where I can just choose to read my own book for once.
Nice. So should we talk about the Kandra? Can we talk about him soon?
Yeah, sure. I've got a bit highlighted from him. You go first.
Okay. No, you go, G. Yeah, it's a nice one to bring us into the conversation, I think.
So it made me giggle snort. And it said, I could always eat one of them if you wish, Orso said. That might speed things up. Vin paused. Orso, however, had a strange little smile on his face. Kandra, human mistress, I apologise. We can be a bit grim. Vin smiled. They probably wouldn't taste very good anyway. Ham's far too stringy, and you wouldn't know the kinds of things that you don't want to know the kinds of things that Breeze spends his time eating. I'm not sure, Orso said. One of them is, after all, named Ham. As for the other, he nodded to the cup of wine in Breeze's hand. He does seem quite fond of marinating himself.
This was great. I thought it was a really great. It was such a good bit, such a good turning point in their relationship too, where they're basically having a little giggle between themselves.
Yeah. I think especially that conversation really stands out because they are having a giggle. They never joke in this book. There's no just having a bit of fun and joking around, and that's one of the few times that they really do. And it was like, oh, that's
And it was like
Kelsia was the Joker in the first one, and Kelsia's gone now.
Yeah, that's right. Very true.
And there was this great bit where she starts patting his head, and he's like, mistress, I don't quite know what to make of this.
Development is a bit...
I don't know quite how I should feel about this. And I got that kind of sense of, like, his dog part of him went, this is really nice, but, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm being stimulated in the correct way, but I'm not sure I want to be stimulated like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine this put it into, like, you know those movies like, oh, I can't remember, but it's like a Freaky Friday type thing, but instead of going from your mum to your daughter, that you do a male and female swap. And I can imagine that's how you'd feel if you started getting stimulated inside a male body and you're not used to it. It would be a bit like, this is a bit strange.
Yeah, I got that bit highlighted. I'm not certain what I think of this experience, mistress. A voice whispered beside her. Vin paused, looking down as she realised that she'd been idly scratching Orsia's ears. This was so cute. So cute.
Yeah.
And there was also another bit where they'd been off doing patrol, and she she put her arms out and he jumped into them, and he's like, and then he's just waxing philosophically about how much he likes meat, about how he likes, you know, rancid meat. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember. It's like, oh, but it's so nice, and I just thought it just made me laugh so much. It was so cute. I was like, oh. I unfortunately, I kind of did this moment when I was like loving their relationship so much, and I wanted to find some fan art of it. So I was looking for fan. So I was like going, you know, basically Vin and her hound, or Vin and her wolfhound. Yeah, and as I was looking for that, of course, on the search results, there's like a wiki thing comes up, and basically I was like that, and I think basically. Yeah, I was basically spoiled because, and now I realize now I can't ever, if I like a relationship, I should never ever Google it until I finish the book, because it's, you know, I'm going to find stuff out. So I kind of had that feeling it might. I didn't read anything, but I did see something about Tensoon, and I was like going, well, it might not be, you know, it might be later, and I was like, okay, so I didn't know all of it, but there is a bit in one of my reaction videos where I go, I think it might be him, and I'm not sure, and I really don't want it to be, because I really, really like him, and I want him to stay. This is really upset. And the other thing I wondered, and this actually was something you guys just put me onto that thought of it, is that the creatures that were the Lord Ruler's creatures, right? So you've got the Inquisitors who have the spikes and being controlled. You've got the Kolos. You've got the Kandra. Did you know the bit where, and I make a point of this, is that when, in my reaction video, is that when Zaid and Tindwall are going through all this stuff, and they're finding that there's all these corners and it's all the same shape that's gone, I wondered if it was the same shape as a dog's mouth. I wonder if maybe the Kandras were, you know, whether the controlling the dog to take the bite out of it, because it sort of just seemed a bit. But then again, the mist being could actually kill, you know, could actually slaughter, which I was a bit strange. I thought was a bit weird. But they just
the mist being wasn't the creature from the well, though, was it?
Well, that's the thing that I got very confused about. Like
Me too.
Very nice things. Like when they were trying to go to the Well of Ascension, when they'd left the city, it seemed like it was trying to kill Elend. And it's like, yeah,
I remember in the tent, and she went rushing in there.
That's why I think Elend's the hero of the ages.
and then when they went to the well, it did it again. But that time I thought that it was doing it to stop her from going into the well, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. Are you good or are you bad? And then it was helping Sazed. I'm like, what are you doing? Whose side are you on?
I think the answer to that, Mel, is, and it's true, is that violence is not the answer, Miss Being. If you want something to do, you know, someone to do something for you, don't threaten with violence, because you can see where that got you twice.
And generally speaking, passively pointing is a little bit on the too passive side. And this is the other bit I don't get, is that the being was appearing to Elend and was not pointing at the city, was he? It was pointing somewhere else. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was. It was trying to get them away, I thought.
Was that, well, because you know where, okay, so he's coming back with Spook, and Vin's already in the city. She's already worked out how to control the Kolos, and he's coming back, and then he's waiting the Spooks out, and then the being appears and is like, doing the whole pointing thing. Yeah, but it was apparently not pointing at the city where they're going to, pointing somewhere else.
I don't remember which way it was pointing.
It was pointing away from the city, back the way they'd come.
that was trying to say go away.
What's that all about?
The only thing I can think of is there's more than one mist thing. More than one mist being.
Because the mists are killing people, right? There are mists that are killing people. And the Zaid come through one, so maybe there must be more than one mist being.
But like the mist being, as far as I could understand, seemed to be somehow linked to the entity in the well, which it's all very confusing. I have no idea.
I'm very confused.
Well, that's what I thought.
Look, I wrote, look at this. After I finished, so I finished at like 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday night, so Sunday morning technically, I sat down and wrote all of these questions because I was like, what the hell is going on?
Well, that's what I thought whenever they hang
left
out.
this book with more questions than I came into it with. It's
Yeah.
But I think it might be answered in the next
I don't
one.
understand. Yeah, because there's good beings, mist beings, and in that she says, well, the mist being wanted me to take the power to heal the land. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true. I'm finding it very confusing.
I'm very confused.
I think that, because I felt like the mist being attacked Elend to try and distract her.
Yeah,
Because
maybe.
the way she sort of went down there, it felt like she was going to go into the well and do all of that stuff regardless, because she felt like she was supposed to do what the previous Hero of Ages hadn't done. So I felt like she was going to do the right thing. I don't think that that's actually what was going to happen, but I think that's what she was doing, and that's the interpretation I gave to the mist being, assuming that was going to happen. So by attacking Elend, she was trying to distract Vin so that Vin would not do it.
No, didn't Vin say that by attacking Elend she could use the power to heal Elend, but that would mean keeping the power instead of letting it go, which is what she was supposed to do according to the legend, which is now false. So,
but then
if she'd held on to it and used it, then the fate wouldn't have come about, and the thing wouldn't have been released.
Yeah, but then we don't think that she's the Hero of Ages anyway. So to G's point, did the mist being slaughter Elend, but slice Elend so that Vin would pull Elend into the thing with her? Maybe there's an idea there.
Maybe the mistress knew that Elend would snap, or maybe I actually wrote a note saying the weird metal that they found near the well that kind of looked like it used to be. I forgot the name, but that really good stuff. The really good stuff, man. And she gave that to Elend, and Elend is now a Mistborn. I'm like, is that a coincidence, or is this metal caused Mistborns? Is that how Mistborns came about in the first place?
That's what I'm sort of thinking. Like, I actually think the metal is actually what causes them, or can stimulate it to come out of them, or whatever.
Yeah.
What happened at the end? Could someone remind me? Did the mist being point to the stuff in the bottom of the well?
I think so. It wasn't in the bottom of the well. It was to the side somewhere. It looked like broken pieces of something.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and that's again. It's like the mist being then slaughters her and then points at shit at the bottom of the well. And I'm like, dude, you need to learn some sign language because no one's understanding it. It's just.
Or, just a bit more than just pointing. Come on.
Yeah. It's like, what is your deal? What do you want from me?
Clearly, they use charades as a game in this land, so that people can understand non-verbal language better.
Indeed. Oh yeah, here's that bit. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just in the last chapter.
Did anybody else get annoyed about the fact that the dresses started to happen again?
Yeah, I was kind of annoyed about it.
I've got no problems with her choosing to wear dress.
Yeah, I didn't mind so much, but I kind of didn't. And my question is considering they're under siege, how on earth are tailors even got stuff to make dresses with? I was just kind of thinking it was a bit. I was a bit surprised they were still in business. Do you know what I mean? Because wouldn't people be buying the fabric to make drapes and stuff, and to keep the warmth in? Or I just found it a bit strange.
We're going to sell all of my jewelry to give wood to the poor, but I'm going to buy this really expensive dress now. I'm going to have it custom made so that I can move around.
Yeah, that's the bit that didn't really fit. And like, where was this person? Like, I didn't understand where all this fabric came from to make even a lens outfits. I just didn't quite understand, because I'm sitting there going, they can't get food in, and yet they've got enough fabric.
Yeah. I suppose I just sort of assumed that they had a fair bit of it around, regardless.
Well, apparently.
I don't disagree with you, though. I didn't really think it at the time, but yeah, I don't disagree with you. I was just annoyed because I was like, seriously, does it have to be that every girl is like, ooh, it's a pretty dress?
Yeah. I liked it because I liked the ball scenes in the first one because it was all part of it. It was part of the occasion.
Yeah.
That felt very fitting, and I liked the descriptions. But in this, I actually, you know, in some ways, and maybe this will come out in the third one, I'm like, great, be the partner, but you be the partner that you are. You are a Mistborn. Don't, you know, wear what's comfortable that shows that, you know, you're still a woman, but, you know, I just kind of go, you know.
But the thing I sort of felt later was that it was almost like she actually liked the dresses, but I don't know whether that's Brandon Sand. I feel like it's almost Brandon Sand almost imposing his will upon her. But
I don't like the dresses in the first one, absolutely, but
no. I mean, like now for her, I felt like she had to wear pants and things like that because it was appropriate as a Mistborn to be wearing something that was functional like that. She didn't know how to wear a dress functionally, whereas once she had dresses that were functional as a Mistborn, she seemed to almost like them a little bit, and I thought, well, maybe that's her discovering herself a little bit, and that's a good thing.
Oh, no, I like that. I like that then. I'm changing my tune.
I was thinking about it from like Tindwell's point of view, thinking, you know, this girl's got to make a queen, pretty much. And that's why I didn't like the dresses so much, because she's wearing them posturing before the Parliament. That's what she was doing.
Yeah, absolutely. At the same time, they are making the Parliament, they're making government. Times are changing, you know. So I kind of go, you know, it doesn't have to, even queens don't have to be what they were, you know. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, I didn't want her to wear.
And that's why I was like,
role. I didn't want her to wear it for that role, but if she liked wearing them and felt like she could do her job wearing them, then I was like, cool, that's all right too. I just was a bit annoyed with the whole almost, she got a little bit giddy at the store, and I was like, stop it.
Yeah, that was the bit that didn't ring true. Yeah, that, like, it was fine in the first one, because I guess in the first one I loved that she was out at the Manor Estate, and, you know, that all felt really great. There was a bit of, I don't mind a little Cinderella. I don't mind a makeover. You know, I enjoy that. And I enjoyed that part of it because it was part of the role she was playing. You know, as Valette. But in this one, it felt like actually, if there's anything that should be happening, it's that she needs weapons made. You know, that's probably what should be happening and be getting excited about. And trying out the metal. She kind of had that metal thing at the beginning, and then she kind of found the Dura aluminium, did I say that right? But then
I have no idea.
But then she stopped doing it again, and I was like going, but that's actually, because there's still stuff that they haven't discovered yet. Still things.
That one.
There's medals in the list that says unknown in the list in the book.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I'm going, wow. So she got all caught up in dresses and not in doing, you know, working out the medals again. I was like, man,
one of these medals could save your life.
Wait, they haven't put Durium or whatever it was on the list.
I noticed that too. I thought it was a bit strange.
Especially considering it's so important in this book.
Yeah, and they don't have the medal that, unless it is that one, what's the medal that the Inquisitors used to give to burn off the stuff so quickly?
Oh, that was aluminium or something, wasn't it?
It was aluminium, okay.
Duralam was the opposite.
Right. Where it uses all of them rather than burn them off. That's right, because that's why she was researching it in the beginning, wasn't it? Because she wanted what they had, but were looking for the pair. Yeah.
Yeah, because she was looking at the opposite. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen her get a few more deliveries. I mean, there wasn't that much going on that he couldn't have added that in as part of the storyline. Her trying some different metals along the way, sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I love the. Sorry, you guys have disappeared for some reason. I don't know what's going on. Here we are, back again. There we are. I love the last scene. I loved the Zane fight, and I loved like that kind of reveal of Tensoon, and that he was guilty and shameful and actually had been, interestingly, the whole time trying to actually warn her. And that was interesting what you were saying, Mel, just before when you were giving your review about Tensoon and Zane. I think the whole time he was so disapproving of her relationship with Zane because he knew. And I think he didn't want her with him, and because he knew the truth. He couldn't say what was going on, but he was trying to drop hints the entire time, like the same way they dropped the hint about how to, you know, to burn. What do you burn? Is it you just do a really big push to get inside the Candra's, and
burn really hard, and you can take over and control them. So
and I love that last scene, and he was giving the clue, and you know, it's like, because I knew, like, the fact that he kind of mowed down that guy in the court, I was like going, you know, he really, you know, he cares for her, and they've become good friends. And like at the end when he's been all beaten up by Zane and everything that's happened, and he's just like, I'm so sorry. I was crying. I know you cried about Well, I was crying about Tensoon. I was like,
no, I agree. I agree with that. That scene was bad, like bad isn't good, but you know.
I'm really hoping that he will be reassigned to Vin.
Yeah, as a dog again. I can't help it. I love the fact he's a dog.
No, I actually would like him to choose what he gets to be next time, because I think
I was thinking what other animals would be awesome to have as a pet, like.
That's true too. Yeah.
Well, a dog's pretty good, but can you imagine if you had a bear, or a horse would be awesome?
I really would like him to come back. Was it him in the end, or was it her?
Well, she said him. She said, "How do you know we don't have a gender?" She says, "Oh, come on, you know, the way you talk like a guy," and he didn't, you know, he didn't disprove her after that.
But I definitely enjoyed Tensoon and hope he's back. So good. I think
we'll be without a Candra now for the next book, otherwise.
Well, not only that, to me, it was that I actually felt like Tensoon ended up being Vin's only really, really good close friend. Like,
yes. In a weird way,
Tensoon was the only one she really told everything to.
And trusted, and that's why he felt so awful about betraying her trust, and yet it was the contract, and he didn't want to go. That was the bit, like he said, I can't, like, you know, you were staying. He says, I actually have, like, I have to go back to my people. I don't want to go. I want to stay. So yeah, and interestingly enough, he said he was, you know, you talk about him choosing, and she said, "Do you want that?" He said he didn't want that body, which we now know is not dead. Thanks, G. It's that I've forgotten where I was going with that. Oh yeah, he chose the dog bones. He says, I think I can make a complete dog.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he went with the dog for that. But I also thought that maybe something to do with that was that he didn't want to waste the body because he knew it creeped her out.
Yeah, and he didn't want the body either. He was like, it's, you know, that guy's a madman, and all that other stuff. And actually, if he's going to and I actually thought to myself, I thought that is such a great incognito way to travel through a war-torn country, is to travel as a dog. No one would ever suspect, you know.
Yeah, and you could hunt easier and things to feed yourself and things.
Exactly, and scavenge, and nobody's going to think anything weird of it.
Well, so apparently he likes, you know, rotten and decaying meat, so you know.
Exactly. So. Exactly, and that was such a cute scene.
All right, I'm going to look at my questions to see if there's anything.
Sorry.
Let's have.
Go for it.
Yeah, more quotes.
I was actually wondering when we were at the well. I was actually wondering what the well was filled with. It sounded like they were talking about it like being a liquid metal, and I was wondering if that was the Atanian.
Nice one.
Because they were wondering where it was. No answer on it. Sorry, these are all unanswerable questions. I think we have to read the next. So I was wondering if the well controlled the mists, or whether the mists were something separate from the well. Like,
I think we're going to find out.
Sorry, it's all.
Oof.
Pretty much we've done all of them.
Cat. I've got, it says, at first glance, the key and the lock it fits, and the key and the lock it fits may seem very different, CZ said. Different in shape, different in function, different in design. The man who looks at them without knowledge of their true nature might think them opposites, for one is meant to open and the other to keep closed. Yet upon closer examination, he might see that without one, the other becomes useless. The wise man then sees that both lock and key were created for the same purpose. I really liked that. And that's what you were talking about, Mel, with opposites. Yeah, how Vin and Elend are opposites, and that's what Hazeb was talking about then.
Yeah.
And that all the metals have their opposites as well, actually. That just occurred to me. Every metal has its opposite.
I'm a big believer in that sort of stuff, not just in books, but in real life.
Absolutely. What did you guys think of the other, of Strafe, Venture, and Set?
Well, I must admit I thoroughly enjoyed how well Vin tricked him when they met and duped him into thinking she was a silly little girl and then totally browbeated him with his emotions. I was like, yes, Vin! As much as I was...
And he spent the whole time scared of her since then.
Yes, after that he was just like, I'm not going anywhere near that chick. And I was like, yes! But I did he actually? My God, it's finishing so recently. I can't remember. Did he die in the end or not?
Yeah, she kicks him in the chest.
Yeah, she came and kicked his ass.
And that was an awesome scene, like coming through the air, and that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just wanted her to do it earlier. I was like, just go kill the dude.
It's like all of his nightmares of comprehend.
Yeah. But it was good too, because I think that it was a good show of her development and her accepting who she was. Like, she was really struggling with being a Mistborn and this being what she does. And I think that was part of the reason, as much as I got very frustrated with the Vin and Elend relationship during the book, and I just wanted to kick the both of them and tell them to be honest with each other and talk to each other, and for God's sakes, all of that stuff. At the same time, I was like, this kind of makes sense, because they're kind of teenagers who are just growing up and getting to know themselves.
Yeah.
There was some religion stuff I wanted to talk about.
I thought there was a scene where she went off on Zane's advice to try and kill Set, and the scene that actually really moved me when Set was on the ground and his son was protecting him, and I actually really grew to respect Set by the end of it, because he was just like he was so bravado, and actually he kind of
went in with no allomancers as well, he was like the underdog without us ever knowing about it.
Yeah,
well, he had an allomancer. It was his daughter.
I wanted to talk about that. I did not see that coming. I was like, she's a spy in some way, and maybe she's a Kandra. And then when Ben was like going, she's working her magic on Breeze, and Breeze doesn't even know.
Yeah,
I was like,
I love the fact that because you kept expecting her to be something bad. I love the fact that she turned out to be actually trying to work for the greater good and stuff. So she reminded me very much of that character in the first book whose name I've forgotten, who turned out to be a spy, who acted all ditzy. And actually, it was the reverse effect of that one, and she was actually using her kind of feminine wiles to kind of get what she needed. Like there was that quite a cool scene at the end where she kind of riding off on them. She's like, "Thank you for the safe passage. I bid you goodbye." And then she was off, and I was like, "Yeah, cool. Great." I think it actually, between her, Tyndall, and even what happened with Vin in this book, I felt like Brandon Sanderson redeemed himself.
Listen to your review from the first one.
Well, one of my only real complaints about the first book, I gave it 5 stars, and my only real complaint was the lack of good female characters. And I don't mean good as in, good people. I mean good as in well-developed female characters. And I felt like in this one, even though we still didn't have as much time with them as I would have liked, that it was improved in that area, and I thought that he had done a good job with that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Tamwor's such a good example of that because of everything she'd been through, and her approach with different people was so true. She took a different approach with different people. Yeah. With Ellen, she was one way.
And also that you didn't have to like her just because she was female or anything. She just was herself. And she took time. I didn't like her to begin with, and then you realise she actually knows her shit, and she knows how she needs to get, Well, he very cleverly brought her in at the right time for you not to trust her. So
that's true too. That's true too.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find. The problem with using this method is that it doesn't actually mark the quotes for me. So I'm just trying to find something that I know I read.
No, that's fun.
Oh, this one was good. There was a bit where he talks about magic. And how he dismisses dismisses something that they're talking about as being magic, and I'm like, I love the fact that they're talking about supernatural things as being unrealistic in this world where there's magic, essentially.
Absolutely, and I think that's what people often don't understand about fantasy is that the magic, magic just isn't magic. It has a system associated with it. It makes, it's one of the reasons that, like this completely, it is magic, but it makes sense. It's the same thing when we read Pat Rothfuss's first book, which all I can think is day 1, day 2. I can even remember
day 1.
But thank you. Is that the magic system completely makes sense, and it doesn't, because, I mean, what's that great quote by Arthur C. Clarke? Is like, magic is just science we don't yet understand. I think that's the one. Is that the one? Yeah, and I think that's really true, is that things might seem really magical, but it's just science we don't quite understand. And I can imagine a magic system where you burn metals. Totally like that in real life. We burn food.
That's logical.
Burn different types.
Yeah.
It makes complete sense.
I think it makes sense.
And the fact that it's not just coming from you, like it's a bit of you, but it's a bit of something else. So it's still sort of that idea of, cauldron, bubbling and things along those lines. You've got to add other elements, but it's doing something internal to you, and it makes logical sense in terms of how we get energy already. So
absolutely, and the bit that really gets me with it is the physics of the push and the pull, and that you need to anchor things. And it's not just, and I think the thing that I loved about this, and you guys talked about in the first hangout, was I could actually totally see it, because I think Kung Fu films have done it so beautifully for so long, is that they almost do the same thing, is that they're in the air, but there's an anchor point. It's just that the physics are elongated on it. And I love that because I could totally imagine, and then she could twist her body and then use that to push herself, and I totally got it.
Yeah.
And I love actually the way he wrote that with a capital P on the push and then the pull.
It's really cool. More emphasis to it. Because that's one of the things, I can't really watch Star Wars now without thinking about things like that, because I'm looking at them moving these great big objects with the Force, and I'm like, but you're moving that great big objects. What are you pushing against? How are you doing that?
Absolutely, yeah. There was a bit in the book that actually, Mel, I just wanted to read you because it made me think of you. He said, this was something Elaine was saying. He said, once a relaxing dip into a book would have been enough to calm him. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
I read that and went, Mel, that would be Mel.
that side of him sort of died a little bit during this book, didn't it? It was a bit sad, but I figured it's kind of like me. I went through a long stage where I didn't read as much as I used to when I was young, and sort of learn to balance it later on. So he'll get balance. He'll get back to it. I know he will.
There was also this bit here, guys, because I totally remember this from the first book, and I was really moved by the first book and totally saw it and keep referring to it. But there's this bit where Ham says, I've got it highlighted here, it says, I can't remember, he talked to Elaine and he says, I remember once she exploded at the crew for little reason, yelling and screaming about her childhood. I don't know if she's completely stable. I remember that bit, and considering Ham's background, I didn't think that really fitted very well, because I would have thought that, he would kind of understand to a point, even though her childhood was, worse. Because I thought that bit in the first book really moved them to realise they actually had no idea what it was like for her.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the bit I'm talking about?
Yeah,
where she
I do
was saying,
remember it.
Yeah.
And this is why I was suspecting that everyone was the Kandra, because every now and again someone would come up with a random thing like that that just didn't fit the character previously. But
there you go. That's where I see it's coming
they're
from.
all in the siege. Those poor buggers. They're just like stewing in that bloody city and going stir crazy. They're probably all stressed as hell.
Yeah.
Things just come out.
Kolos. What did you guys think of the Kolos?
Oh,
I googled images them.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't
and
see that.
There was one that it was like the small one next to the big one, and it was pretty good actually. I wonder if I can find it. I'll have a look.
I was right?
I was so impressed when Elend went into the camp into their camp and everything. I was like, "You go on, yes."
Yeah. Yeah. And do you remember that bit where he's like, and he like kills one and takes because he needs to see what's inside the bag, and he goes, they're all waiting for something. He goes, "He ate my horse." I remember that, but I actually remember exactly where I was on the bus, and I just cracked up laughing when I read that. I was like, "Yeah, you go." It just seemed like that great bit. That great bit in Indiana Jones where he sticks the guy. It's in the third one. He sticks the guy at the window, and he goes, "No ticket," and they all bring out their tickets. Just remember that. Yeah. Anyway, it just reminded me.
So
of
I just put the picture in the Hangout chat. You guys have a look at.
That's actually nothing like I was imagining them in my head, but it actually works much better than what was in my head. So,
yeah, they were grosser in my head though.
Yeah,
actually,
they were
like
gross in mine too.
Actually, the ones that had the skin sort of hanging off them in my head were cuter. I don't know why, but they were cuter in my head than that. But that actually makes so much more sense.
This is kind of more like
human standing there like,
hello. This is kind of what I had in because I had a look too previously. I'll just put this in. This is kind of what I had in mind, but more gashes and more blood showing through.
Yeah, more blood. Oh yeah. Yeah, that grin, that's what I had too, and like
that face so stretched, yeah.
Actually, that face on top of the other bodies works for me.
Yeah.
Except that their ears were flat to their head and their noses as well. Like, when you the high pressure wind things.
Oh yeah.
I feel really bad that these poor creatures between the Kandra and these guys, who essentially they have no ability to live with humans, and so therefore lose their free will in a lot of respects. And I'm just like, this is awful.
It's really sad.
I thought that one of the most interesting things for me, especially once we got to the last about 150 pages or so, was Cesar's loss of faith in religion.
Yeah.
I think in terms of...
So go.
I was just going to say that it was particularly sad for me because some of the things he said about religion I thought were so well expressed in terms of things like religions are an expression of hope. That Cesar said that hope gives people strength and things along those lines. Like, I'm not actually a religious person, but for me, I think that it's works for people because of those sorts of reasons, and if that's what works for them, then that's a good thing. So to have him lose that hope was just so sad for me.
But again, I think this is part of his journey to being the hero of the ages, because what is God? This is what, like, I remember them discussing the Lord Ruler, and the Lord Ruler really was a god. He was a religion, and I think whatever this thing that's been released that's connected to the Inquisitors, is a type of god.
Do you remember when they were discussing whether the prophecy was actually a prophecy or not as well?
Yeah.
Recap on that one. I'm trying to remember. what they actually
so they were studying it, and they found the discrepancies in it, and they were wondering whether it was actually a prophecy or how much it had changed. I've actually got a bit highlighted, and it's simple. Twindwell said, "We are obviously facing a danger that has come before, a reoccurring problem like a plague that plays itself out, only to return again centuries later. The ancient people knew of this danger and had information about it. That information naturally broke down and became legends, prophecies, and even religions. There will be, then, clues to our situation hidden in the past. This is not a matter of soothsaying, but a matter of research." And it just made me think about, I don't know, all the religions that Zed's got and how they developed and how religions and myths develop generally as well. And
so perhaps his research then is going to play a lot into him being the hero of ages.
Yeah.
Well, that's my theory. Of course, it still could be a lend.
Well, see, the problem is that I've got with this sort of idea is that all of his research, all of that, what's in his tin mines, it's tin mines, right? Anyway, whatever it was, are now corrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's how he's feeling, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's because the well as entity is able to change anything that's not written in metal. That sort of suggests to me that he can't rely on the information that he's stored.
But it's in metal.
But it's not written.
He doesn't know whether he read it, whether it was right when he read it, because it's actually his memory.
Yeah, that's
that
right.
is stored. So if he's
that's
read
why he
the
makes
wrong
the trip
thing,
at the end. That's why he makes the trip at the end to go back, so that he can actually read it and capture it as it is and get rid of all the other stuff.
I had no idea that was what was happening. I thought someone was coming in and just tearing off that corner bit, not that the whole thing was being changed as they were reading it or as it was being written.
I thought so too.
No
I thought it was
idea.
the job.
Even that, had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when he went back and it was like you read the first line again, it said, I'm writing this in metal because things in metal won't change or something. Like
things in metal is the only thing that can be trusted or something. Yeah.
The way he said that, like we read it at the very beginning and then we read it again now and we're like, oh,
we read it over and over. It was so many times and totally didn't take it in, just like he did.
And we were saying before about the Inquisitors being controlled. And I said, well, maybe maybe you're right about them being controlled by the thing in the world because they had that guy imprisoned down there. And he was trying to stop the hero of the ages from releasing the power and releasing what was ever in the world.
Who did they have in prison down there?
The guy who was writing in metal. Quan.
Right.
Right.
He was the finder or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I write these words in steel, for anything not set in metal cannot be trusted.
Yeah.
What's the bit that kept getting torn off? Or was it getting replaced or torn off?
It was the last line or something on those lines. I don't know why that particular bit though.
I think it was. I don't know if it was that. Was it the mist creature tearing it off to say this is the bit that's wrong? This is the bit that which was the bit to say that she should not take the power. And it was like trying to warn. I got the feeling like it was the mist creature, the mist being trying to warn to say this is everything you're reading. This is the bit that is wrong. The worst. Yeah. And that's when he goes and he reads the last bit where it says,
or just to make them suspicious of it, even. You know.
Yeah.
I can find. I found what it actually says. I just can't find what the torn off bit said. Maybe the mist thing or whatever was tearing it off was trying to show that they said different things.
Well, I think that might be what it was, is to say, but couldn't communicate.
Yeah,
If you can tear off the corner of a page, why can't you write something down? Oh, I suppose it would be changed, wouldn't it?
And they were always the same shape. They were always the same shape. That's what made me think that whatever was using the Candra to do it, because it just seemed like the same shape and size as a dog's mouth. That was what was in my head when I was going through my suspicions.
I don't think a dog's mouth would tear it at the same way, because the dog's mouth hasn't got like serrated teeth that's going to cut exactly the same way. It would be still a tear, which would come differently.
Yeah. And as I said, like if this creature can like slice a land, I'm sure it can slice off, pieces of paper. Moose, get into your basket, please.
I'll tell you what though, I don't know if I can wait for them. I've got to read Orcs and Crake in between. I'm like, oh. Next time we do this, maybe we shouldn't put 2 months. The problem is I think some people need it.
I need it. Sorry, I couldn't. I started this one basically pretty much straight after I couldn't make the last hangout. And got straight into it.
But to be fair though, you've had a lot going on in this last 2 months.
Well, that's true too, but they're big books.
Yeah, they are big books. Well, the thing is, we don't, like, if we do this again with a series next year, then we probably won't pick such a big series necessarily.
Yeah.
I can't say that when we were picking, I was looking at the lengths of the books at all.
Yeah. We've got quite a few different series in there as well. Like, I think there was the Bourbon Kid, which G had recommended, which I thought would look really good, and there was a couple of others. Like, there's definitely enough series for us to go back and revisit what was in the poll and, kick it off again.
Yeah, I figure for next year I'll just pop it up again, and I'll pop up the ones that were on the previous year's poll, and then we'll say, is there any other suggestions that people would like to nominate, and go from there. But it's hard to find a series that not everybody has read, or enough people haven't read, sort of thing. So we'll see how we go. Oh, excuse me.
I'm trying to find the bit that was ripped off. It's all very difficult to do. What other things did you have highlighted in your questions, Mel?
The questions are all very, like, we can't answer them now. They're just talk points. To go, that kind of thing. And we've pretty much covered them now. Basically, Marsh, the mists, whether the mists are sentient or not, Zane and Inquisitor. I mentioned the well being filled with titanium. Voice in Zane heads, was it from the well? Who was the mist spirit? I think it was. Yeah, I think it was too. Who is the spirit in the mist? We've discussed that. What are the Inquisitors up to? Are they tools of the well? We've discussed that. Why did they take the body of the Terracements? We've discussed that. Did the metal? Yeah. So, and then the metal turning a land into a Mistborn. So we discussed everything.
Should we talk about the siege at the end? Because that was quite exciting. I really enjoyed watching Zaid realise that he was the hero of the hour, that it was up to him.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was very cool, and he got to the big size and, threw away the
last standing.
Such a good scene. I really enjoyed that. It's just super exciting. And the bit where
think Vin was going to make it, though.
I know, he really it was good actually, because he didn't have her turn up, just beforehand to prevent everyone dying or anything. But he also didn't have her turn up right at the end where it was all lost, and that I thought it was really well timed by him.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Well, I mean, it depends on which character's perspective they're talking about. For some of them, they probably think she didn't.
Yeah.
I actually think that the whole thing with Tyndall dying, I think that Caesar sending Vin away is part of the reason why he is really upset, because anyway.
Yeah.
He hadn't prepared for that particular death and for himself to survive it.
No, he thought he'd die and she would survive.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm.
So, yeah, I think maybe that's part of his personal crisis at the moment as well. There's the crisis around religion. There's the crisis around having set Vin up as the hero of ages. There's the crisis, but I also think that the crisis of Tyndall dying and him surviving is a big part of it. I'd actually be interested to know whether or not he becomes pretty much because like in the first book, right, it was pretty much Kelsia's and Vin's perspective, and that's all you really got. And in this one, we really stretched out and got a lot of different perspectives, like down to some of them only getting voice for one time, and that was it. And he was just like, I'm just going to tell the story and I'll use whoever's eyes I need to, basically. I'm wondering if in the third one we're going to get it more tightened up again, and we'll probably get only 3 perspectives, Elend's, Vin, and Stacey. And I actually think even Elend may not be necessary for it.
I think what's going to happen is, I think because we saw this with Zane, with the god in Zane's head, and the I'm free, I think we're going to get a perspective from the whatever the creature is or whatever the god head is.
Because that's one of the things that was different about this one too. We actually got the bad guy's perspective throughout it. Which
we might get a bit more, and we might get a bit more of that, maybe. Yeah. I'm not sure in what form, but I think we'll see more of that. Should be kind of exciting. Yeah.
Although it's hard to really call Strafe and Set bad guys, but they were the ones in opposing our heroes.
Yeah, we didn't see Set's point of view though, did we? Because they wanted to see if he was going to be a good boy. I have to show you one of
Set's point of view through his daughter at the end.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. We got her point of view too. She was cool. Yeah.
That's who I was thinking of when I said we might have only gotten one person's point of view for a short period.
What did you guys think of the whole poisoning Strafe venture? I was like, yeah, you deserve that. You're an asshole.
Yeah.
He really is an asshole.
I thought it was his woman the whole time.
Yeah. And that it wasn't really poisoning, it was addiction.
Yeah.
Yes. And then again, he would like look within himself going, yeah, there isn't something that isn't quite right. It's like, yeah, it's because you're running out of the drug. Yeah, that was I thought it was really good.
I was really kind of sad that he figured it out well enough. Like it didn't take too much for him to figure it out well enough to get by.
I was like, he was going to poison himself trying to fix himself.
That's what I wanted to have happen. Kill yourself in the process.
Yeah.
Whoops, wrong one.
In the end, I must admit, I preferred Vin actually taking him down. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought it might be like that though. I thought it might be a bit like he's that he was like feeling good and then actually had an OD episode.
So the next one is the conclusion of the trilogy, but there's more.
Yes, he started a new series. It's supposed to be several hundred years later. Sorry. Bless you.
Oh, sorry.
That was a bit scary. Bless you.
Yeah, the new trilogy is supposed to be several hundred years later, so it's considerably after. I think it's its own story.
More modern, yeah.
Yeah, I actually am interested to read them, but at the same time, I don't want to set it up as for the group because it's not all out. The second in that new trilogy is supposed to be coming out this year, so that's good because it means that I probably won't mind reading it for myself, but at the same time, I'm sort of cautious.
Yeah, we've already got one trilogy that's not complete yet, and I'm already dying for the third book and haven't even started the second.
You guys, I don't know if you guys commented yet, but I've posted and suggested that we read it in the book day 2 in September.
I'm good with that.
I'm up for that. I'm up for day 2.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have to read. He still hasn't done day 3. He's decided to go and do something else instead. Great. Thanks,
little
Pat.
novella one.
Yeah, I was so excited.
Yeah.
He's done day 3 and he brings out this whole other book.
I thought I told you about
like,
this one.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, it was you, G, who was telling us about that. And I was like,
yeah. So is this not the one that he was giving a manuscript to Mary Robert Cowell to read? It is that one.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'd register.
So he's gone. You know how people distract themselves.
Yeah. So basically, I didn't put together the manuscript that he'd given to Mary Robinette Kowal with this extra book. I knew the extra book was there, but I hadn't put those two things together. I thought that maybe it was wishful thinking.
I'm pretty sure he's done day 3, but he's one of those people who writes several drafts before he hands it off.
He's very thorough.
Yeah.
Which I can't complain about because that makes for a good book. Although Brandon Sanderson writes considerably faster, and I liked this better. Everybody else really likes The Name of the Wind. I thought it was great, but I like this one better.
I like The Name of the Wind. I've read Hounded not too long ago as well, by Kevin Hearn, and it's very similar. Excuse me, I'm going to yell at the dog. Shut up! Sorry about that.
Is Hounded the one that's up on the poles on the moment on Sword and Laser?
Yeah. They're iron druids, so they use iron.
Sorry.
But it's set modern.
Sorry.
It's like modern druids as well, which was kind of strange. It took me a little while to get used to that. But yeah, similar kind of thing.
I keep saying I'm going to read The Martian, but I haven't done that one either. So I'm getting too tired.
I think I prefer these ones over the Hounded ones, definitely.
Yeah. See, that's the problem I've got. Like, they keep picking books that are similar, but they're not necessarily better, and so I'm sort of like, I've got all these other books I want to read that are different. I'd prefer to read those than something that's similar.
Yeah.
Why haven't they read some Tepper? They've got no Tepper. No Sherry Tepper. It's very sad. Oh, I think we've lost Sarah. She's very focused.
I'm trying to find, I've got Kwan's inscription, but what I'm trying to find is the fake one. But I'm trying not to look, this is the problem when you go searching for shit when you're in a trilogy, because you might see stuff from the next book.
Stop. You don't want to do that.
I know, so I'm like, I also, who does our banners on our Goodreads area? Because I loved the banner they did. Whoever did it, I think Olivia might do it. Can't remember. The Ascension one with all the really cool. Oh, was that you? That is the best picture ever. I love that one. Yeah, that was my favourite.
Yeah, the only problem I've got with the picture I used for this one is that I'm pretty sure that one is actually meant to be representative of book 3. After reading book 2, I was like, actually, I think that might be book 3 picture.
Really? Well, it's got, what's kind of cool though is it's got we've got
Lend in his white.
We've got Kolos. Yeah, that's the thing I thought was that he's in his white.
Using Mistborn powers, and it's got Marsh. Marsh was barely in the second book, and Elen didn't have Mistborn powers until the end. That's why I think it's book 3.
Which one's Marsh?
Oh, actually, it's not Marsh because there's a couple of Inquisitors there.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
I thought there's 3 main characters there. I thought Marsh was that third one on the end.
That red-eyed thing looks like a Kolos, though.
There's heaps of Kolos, actually. The whole background behind them, it looks like clouds of Kolos. Yeah. I don't know what Elen's holding in his hand. It kind of looks like a sword.
Yeah, they look like Kolos swords.
Yeah, Kolos swords.
Like an axe.
Actually, no, you're right. That third one, I always thought it was Marsh, but he's actually wearing Mistborn cloaks. Maybe it's Zane.
Zane, yeah.
I think it might be Zane, yeah. Even though Zane doesn't like to wear the cloak, he wears it at the end.
But he did, he did put it on the end, and it's not so much he doesn't like it, it's more that it's uncomfortable for him.
It irritates him, it irritates.
Yeah, and he still liked it. He felt pride in it. It just
Yeah.
I'm
looking for the third one now.
I'm taking it down now, guys, because I've got the next one to go up for Orcs and Crake ready.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me have this moment to admire it, because I enjoyed that.
I literally stole it. It is a stolen image that I got off
Is it fan art or is it an actual
It's
cover?
fan art. You can. It's on DeviantArt. If you just search on DeviantArt, you'll find the original.
Awesome. I think it actually, that's, for me, it kind of, that, I saw that and I was like going, oh, that looks so cool. That looks like I just felt it really captured the book so brilliantly. Like,
if you go look for the, if you go look for it, it's actually got a bigger version of it. It's a really nice full picture. I just chopped it to fit because those banners, you have to make them a particular size. So actually, the system's really stupid. It doesn't resize things for you. You've got to actually cut them to the exact pixel size.
Oh, really?
It's a right nuisance. So yeah, but I don't know of a system that does that. It's ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, uploading the next one. I do them in advance. Like I'll sit down and I'll do a couple at a time. So Olivia does them now and then, and that's cool. But she sort of stopped doing them, so I like doing them, so I'll do them.
Cool. I'm having a look to see.
It's one of my favourite parts. It was Olivia's idea, by the way. Olivia started the whole idea of having a new banner each time for each book.
Mm.
And I was like, that's an awesome idea. I love that. So I've just run with it. And she did the wool one. Come on,
Refresh. Refresh.
Taking its time. I think my network's having a bit of a... It's like, you're on a Hangout. Why are you trying to upload big images? As I said, I've only got ADSL 1 because of our area. It's up, is it? Okay, so it's just... there we go.
Cool.
That's the Ox and Crake one.
Oh, is it been refreshed?
Yeah.
Yep, refreshed. There now. I don't know how Ox and Crake do, but should be alright.
We really like our dystopian futures, don't we?
Well, I didn't know that's what Orcs and Crake was. Orcs and Crake was what was given to me for my Christmas exchange.
Right.
And I just sort of suggested it, and everyone sort of went, yeah. I was like, okay, cool, all right, bit of Margaret Atwood, let's go.
Cool. I just found
I
that
haven't
one.
done the dystopian in a while, actually.
Mm.
What? Not since the Wool trilogy, the Silo trilogy.
Yeah. The problem is for me, I like to fluctuate around. I don't like to sit in one area all the time. That's why I'm so annoyed. I think partially at Sword and Laser at the moment because it's all been very similar types of stuff. And so Books and Crake will be a good go back to dystopia.
Has anyone looked at the Wool comic? The Wool comic? No,
but I want to. And with you know how we were talking about frickin', they bought Comixology or Comixology got bought by Amazon. Well, you know what that's meant for the iPads that I read them on is that you can no longer purchase through your iPad.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you guys know what I mean? So
yeah, I know. I'm going to my Comixology to find out.
Yeah, so it's the same thing as with Kindle. If you're using Kindle on an iOS device, you can't buy via the Kindle app. It's not that,
Oh, I see. They've locked it out of the app. You've got to go to their store through.
That's right.
Sorry, and
So what they're doing is it's not that they couldn't have done it. It's that a cut will go to Apple. So they are now basically, and it's just the thing that frustrates me though is that, like I got with the Kindle and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, fine, but they haven't come out, like Amazon hasn't come out with a tablet that's kind of on par, and I don't know if they're going to do the same thing with the Play Store, because if I get an Android app, like money's going to Google, it's still not going to Amazon. Is it just that they go, no, frack Apple? I don't know. I just was kind of like, because
they do frack Apple. Lots of places do the frack Apple.
Yeah, but they're basically they're going, Apple, you don't get a cut of this, but Google, you can have a cut of it. I'm kind of going,
actually, I would be careful what we're saying there, because actually Kindle didn't want to take it out. It was Apple that forced them to, because they want to make it more difficult for people to buy from them rather than going through Apple and using iBooks instead.
I don't think that was the case with Comixology, because
I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm just saying Kindle was different.
Oh, was it? Yeah. I get the Kindle thing, but the Comixology, I'm kind of going, they're still good, because the thing is, Apple will take a cut because you're purchasing through them. Like
you're doing it through your actual account with them. So I'm going to have to figure out how to
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Whereas Kindle, basically what Kindle took away was just basically a link to the site.
That's right, because you were signed in as your Kindle account. You're quite right, yeah, which makes sense. Whereas with this one, they go, which I suppose is maybe that's their whole frack you, Apple, because they went, well, you won't let people purchase through them, so you're not going to get a cut of our comics. So I'm seeing this in a little bit of a different light now. Yeah, but I mean that's the big thing. We said, what is this going to mean now that Amazon have bought Comixology? That's what it means. Is it's a little bit harder for iPad. And I use my husband's a big iPad to read because it's just really lovely to read. Like we read all the what did we read?
Saga.
Yeah, sorry. Saga, yes. Which my husband read and loved, and he loved Lion Cat as well. He came back and was like, "Look, it's Pussycat." I'm like,
yeah, it's look, I'm not going to be bothered by this. I got over the Kindle one. All I did was created a link, a bookmark in my Safari, and it was easy to get past. So what I'm hoping, because what I would like to be able to do now is link what I've purchased under my Apple account to my Amazon account at Comixology. That would be nice. Because one of my reasons for actually liking being in the Amazon ecosystem is that it doesn't matter what device I use, I can still go and get my content. Anything I purchase on the iBook store, screw you, you have to use Apple. And I've got the same problem with a magazine that I've purchased. So I've got it's ended now, but I had a subscription for a magazine through the newsstand. And then they went and extended the areas where you could purchase their digital subscriptions, and you could do it through Amazon. So I'm locked into the Apple environment because it's through my Apple account. And if I change to a different type of device now, I can't get my magazines. And it's driving me insane. But if they allowed me to go, right, actually all of this content now I'd like to put underneath this account so that it's in a generic space where I can access it anywhere, I'd be very happy.
Yeah, but that's how Apple have always worked. They make their money on content. They don't make their money on software or even, hardware to a point, but they've never made, that's why they give all the software away for free. I mean, Amazon, they make their money on content as well, but what they've done, which is a bit different from Apple, is they've made their hardware so freaking cheap. I mean, think about how much a Kindle costs now.
It's so cheap.
And they kind of go, that's making they lower that ecosystem. We'll let you use it anywhere. So again, it's making it more and more attractive to you because also from the same problem with iTunes. I can't use my iTunes everywhere, and the content's kind of locked into iTunes. I've worked out like a kind of a sync up to my Google Plus account so I can get some music down, but it's still a faff.
Yeah,
it's still a faff. They got me, and that's the thing. A lot of people want to leave the Apple ecosystem. One of my bosses actually was tempted because we were working with Samsung and we're trying out some of the devices, and he's like, I really miss the back button and all this, and he's going, and he's talking about maybe he'll get the new iOS, the new Apple 6, or maybe he'll get an Android. But he's like, the big one's iTunes. It gets that people are locked in, and they go, but I want to take it, and I just took a chance. And actually, I'm okay. And I mean, I sometimes I just use an iPod or an old iPhone for using my iTunes now. But you can make it work. But I think you
can make it work. I think it's harder when you're very apps driven. Like for your average individual, it's not a huge deal because there's not that many apps that you use. Like once you've finished a game, you usually finished it anyway, that sort of thing. But I'm very tied to particular apps that I use in education, and that becomes a problem for me to switch over because the Android and the Windows environment are not as well developed in terms of the apps that are available, especially the education type ones. Like Android has got some of them, but they're like 2 years behind in development. So it's really frustrating for me to switch over. And but I have to be device agnostic. So
it's hard. It's hard for you. Yeah.
I just I mean, I live for my personal use, I live in the Apple environment just because that's where most of my stuff is at the moment. Professionally, I have to be around all of the different spaces, but in the end, I know that I stick with Apple just because it's got the most developed at this point in time. When Android catches up, I'll probably be quite happy to move over, but it's still a bit far behind in terms of app development. Interface, iOS, no problems.
I grew up with building computers, so I guess I'm addicted to Windows. I can't pull an Apple apart and put the pieces back together again. Whereas I can do that with my PC. If something breaks on it, I'll just take it out and get a new one, put it back in, restart it. Woohoo, easy peasy. But can't do that with an Apple. And because I've gotten so used to Windows, I just don't even know how to use Apple products at all.
I think we lost Sarah for a second.
There's two of me.
There's two of you.
There's two of me. I don't know how I did that. That's very talented. I'm obviously just so egotistical. I have myself twice.
I can kick you out, but I think it'll just right itself in a minute anyway. So
yeah.
I don't want to risk in case I kick you both out.
Yeah, basically just because I'm on the personal hotspot, sometimes it just dropped out all of a sudden. But I did well, like 2 hours. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you did pretty well actually. I think that was good.
That's pretty cool. I was just having a look at the that Mistborn banner, and I didn't notice it. And they've got fantastic coins. They've got all the boxing coins as well. It's such a cool banner.
Link it, Sarah.
Have I dropped out again? Oh, sure.
No, you're there.
It's the one that Mel used originally, and I just thought I looked it up and I thought it's cool.
Yeah. It was a really good picture. That's why I went with it. I had to go. Once I realised that it was the third one, I wish I'd saved it. Oh, yeah, they are Colossus. I didn't even notice that when I first put it in. I didn't see the Colossus. But then I suppose I didn't know what they were then. So,
yeah.
What did I do for my third one? Now I'm curious. I know I made a third one.
It's so cool.
Alan looks much cooler in this picture than I imagined him in my head.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I made the one for Hero of Ages already. I was trying to remember what I did for it. Yeah, Alan looks really cool in that picture.
Yeah. That is not how I pictured him in my head. He was a lot dorkier in my head.
Yeah, but one of the things they'd been working towards making him look cool, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Sarah, that broke up.
Yeah. Question: did you guys remember? Oh. Casting?
No, I don't think so. Or at least I don't.
Did you guys have anyone in your heads? I've had a few people in my head.
I think you've got a delay, by the way, Sarah. So just be aware.
Oh, that might be my fantastic. I'll come out and come back in again.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Oh, that was fast. Yeah, definitely a delay. I don't think we did casting last time, did we?
No, I don't think we did either. Yeah. I haven't really been thinking about casting lately, though.
No, I'm never been into it, so
I'm back. How's that?
Cool. No? That seems a bit better.
Yay! So my question has been around casting. Whether you guys have done casting?
We don't think so.
Ah, cool.
So who have you got in
mind? Who did you have in mind?
I had. This was something. I think I saw this. Yeah, this was someone else published this, and I thought it was pretty good. It's not exactly who I was thinking for each of the role in my head, but it got me thinking. I'm just going to find the chat. I'm just waiting. I think that's the one. For some reason, the photos haven't loaded, and it's not who I had for everybody. Here we go. Is it loaded now? They had this.
Oh my God! There's actually an app for like a thing for this. Oh, the pictures aren't loading.
No, they're not loading, and they were loading before, which was very weird.
Call me.
I don't know which one this one is. Is this another one that it was?
Uma Thurman, yes, I can see
Brad
Uma Thurman.
Cooper.
Well, I didn't agree with Cooper, but I tell you what was interesting. They had, I think this is the one, they had Bradley Cooper, but then they had as his brother, they had, where's his brother? What's his brother's name? Marsh. Ralph Fiennes is Marsh. And they said, I saw where Bradley Cooper and Ralph Fiennes look alike. And it's actually really true. And annoyingly, these photos aren't loading. But it is true.
Just click on them, it'll take you to the moviedb.org and show you the picture.
Cool. But when I first saw this, it was like, they actually had them all loaded.
John
So I don't know
Hannah.
why it isn't putting images.
Who's Yedden?
Yeah. He was the really keen leader of the resistance who managed to go and get everybody killed.
Out to the battle and got them all killed.
Yeah, killed everyone.
Yeah. Who have they got as Zaid?
Some weird looking dude.
What's for Hervidal? Who the hell is that?
No
way. No. Sorry.
So I had in my head for I'm going to just bring it up.
I had for CZ like a very Spock-like image. I don't know. Like tall, thin, and composed.
So this is who I had in my head for Calzia. It's a big link, but just,
That's a big link.
Hopefully it'll work. I don't know.
Yeah, it worked. John Hamm.
So John Hamm is John Draper from Mad Men. But I saw him with a beard in a Nerdist episode, and I just remember, and he actually was really in my head for a lot of that, because I thought he's good looking, but I could just really see him in that role.
To me, he seems a bit too bulky.
A bit bulky?
Well, I mean, I suppose the thing about Cesar is he goes up and down, and he seems to mostly live at that lower end of the spectrum, so tall but willowy.
Did you say Kelsia?
Yeah, Calzia.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, John has a Kelsia.
Right,
No,
that makes sense.
I actually had in my head kind of a sort of Sacha Baron Cohen type look for say Zaid.
You say it different to me.
Yeah.
I know. How do you say it, Mel? How do you say it? Say Yeah, say yeah. And yeah, because Sacha Baron Cohen's very, very tall, and he's got that kind of, he's got that Iranian, Middle Eastern look, and that's kind of what I had in my head, except that they don't have any hair, and yet in my head he did have hair, even though I know it read that he didn't. So I kind of had that Sacha Baron Cohen look, and also just someone I bet when I saw them I'd just kind of go, yes, that would be totally them. Almost Keanu Reeves, as well.
Keanu Reeves, more like.
Yeah.
The casting they've got for Straff Venture is pretty good here. Jason
Who have they got
Isaacs.
for Straff? Oh, that's excellent. Because interestingly enough, even though they've got for clubs, they had for clubs Charles Dance. I had him in my head for Straff Venture, just because he plays, like he's what's his face in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah. But actually, who did they have for Strafe? Jason Isaacs. Yeah, he would be good. I'm not sure if he's old enough. That would be all. But yeah, he's got that kind of. Yeah.
God, who did he play in Harry Potter?
He was Malfoy, the older Malfoy.
Oh, he was too. Yes.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill is way too hot for the Lord Ruler.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. I was also thinking Sacha Baron Cohen for kind of the Lord Ruler, because they're both.
I see, the guy from 300, that really big, the god guy from that.
Lord Ruler?
He's all gold and dripping in gold.
Yep.
I'll see if I can find it.
Oh, look, I'm looking at images. 300 gold guy don't come up. Oh, that's totally. Yeah, totally. That's actually kind of what was in my head, except without the gold.
Yeah.
Actually, that's something I meant to bring up as a part of the discussion. Do you think he was so strong because he built up, like the Lord Ruler, because he built up so much stored energy, or because he was somehow using the geranium stuff that Vin started using to enhance his abilities?
I think there's a lot of both of it, and I suspect what he managed to do is that he could actually not burn geranium in short bursts, but actually work out how to make it last. He was definitely storing stuff though, because that's how he was storing his youth. He was doing that.
Absolutely. That he was definitely storing as well. But he seemed to, like, he was using how do you say it?
I don't know. Kim can always say it. I can't.
Furimaki.
Allomancy, Furomancy. It's one of those things that I look at, but I don't say it out loud. Anyway, that one, because we know he was using that, but perhaps when you use the geranium with Furimaki, it might work in a different way that gives him a longer lasting burn but doesn't destroy other things.
Yeah. Actually. Oh, there's 2 casting games.
Oh, it's got Uma Thurman here for Tindwyl.
Yeah,
I did not see her. I saw.
No, she's not.
I watched Only Lovers Left Alive the other day. It's got Tilda Swinton, and I saw more of Tilda.
I want to see that. Thanks to you guys.
It was really good.
Oh, is it really good?
I loved it. I can imagine why some people don't, but I thought it was fantastic.
Is Tom Hiddleston as gorgeous as ever?
Oh yeah.
God, he's gorgeous.
Oh, he's got the broody musician thing. Oh fuck yeah.
I prefer him with like I like him with dark hair. Like he's actually quite blonde in real life, but I do like him with his short cropped hair, like his normal look too. Sorry, Tom's just hot. I was thinking for Tindwyl, I almost had a very much almost like a Nefertiti type look in my head. You know, like I couldn't think of an actress, but I had that kind of, you know, Egyptian, very tall, very elegant, you know. Do you know what I mean by Nefertiti? I can't say about my head. And also, by the way they dress, it's very Egyptian as well. Yes, and actually, that's actually interesting because do you guys remember the film The Mummy and the guy Oded Keir, who like he's old now, like he's not old. I mean, he's still probably very good looking in his 50s, but you know, back in the day when he was doing all those, you know, he actually could do if you're kind of a little bit slimmer, he's kind of who I had in my head as the Lord Ruler, you know, because he's got the beard and he's still got that Egyptian look as well. Yeah. What does he look like these days?
No idea. Actually, when it comes to casting, I don't worry about those sorts of things anyway. I just go him from that year or in that movie.
Nice, yeah.
Well, it's not like it's actually going to happen exactly as I think it is going to happen, so it may as well not be based in reality.
This is totally like, you know that bit in the first book? Here's another big link for you guys. I like big links.
I like big links that I can't
links. That look there is the bit, you know, when the Lord Ruler comes out of the carriage at the end, when he's standing there and he's so powerful and he's beautiful. You know, you remember her saying, and he's dressed in his nobleman. That's kind of what I saw, is that he could get away with having the beard, and he could get away with wearing metal. You know, like none of the other noblemen could, and that's kind of what I had in my head. This pretty much sums it up. And he's got that, he's got that Middle Eastern look, which I kind of kept imagining for the terrace people.
He does look a bit older, actually.
Oh, wow, yeah. Silver Fox.
Oh, yes, exactly. I was just thinking.
Yeah, he's totally a Silver Fox. See, that's the thing with men. They just get better looking, you know.
I think women get unattractive when they get older either. I think women look very nice when they're older. It's just our standards that make us think that they don't.
That's true. Oh yeah, he's totally turned into Silver Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Nice linkage there.
Vin was the one that I couldn't cast very well.
I think Vin would be played by someone who you don't know anyway.
I think you're right. I think it'd be an unknown, and you'd spend time looking for. Actually, the one person was in my head. Yeah, the one person in my head. Actually, now having watched it, I think she'll be too old by the time it comes around. But I'll take Mel's approach.
Yes.
I think because she actually could be really good. Here comes another big link. Woo-hoo!
Oh, from the Lizzie Bennet Diaries.
Yeah, it's a gift, but she's got that look. Like, she's got the dark hair, she's got that kind of elfin cute look, and I was just like, and I could imagine her kicking ass, you know. So I have no idea what the actress's name is, but she's probably but the thing is when she starts, what is she, 14, 15 at the beginning of the series, and then
she's really young.
You know, so you do really want to probably cast someone who is younger. And look, you know, and because as you make them like Harry Potter, they're going to get older, you know, because these books are massive, you know.
Well, you take this really seriously when you're considering timelines of filming.
Well, do you not know what I do for a living? Yeah, but no, we do filming too. Yeah. No, well, because it's one of those things. Is that, you know. Anyway. Who knows? Tom Hardy is Ham. Interesting. Someone had them in but this is someone else's casting thing, which I didn't. Oh, hang on, I'll keep in the wrong area. There you go. Robert Downey Jr. as Breeze, I thought was quite good. Except, isn't Breeze quite tubby? In your heads, how did you imagine him?
Yeah. Certainly not supposed to be trim or anything, I don't think.
No, and like they were talking about the horse and all that kind of stuff. And
it really comes down to taste, a lot of this stuff. So
yeah.
Oh, are they actually talking about making Mistborn?
I think it would be amazing, but I think I think like a lot of these things, I think it would have to be a I can see why they're suggesting him for Saeed.
I think the reason I'm really wary is because of what they did with Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a really good director for that, and it still didn't turn out right. And I'm like, I think that sometimes some of these ones where it's sort of this magic system where you can do those sorts of manipulations, it can be difficult to do in a way that doesn't come across corny.
Yeah, I think for me, but this is why I don't think it'll happen. I think because of the size and the breadth of these books, it would have to be a television series or a series. You know, it's not a series of movies. It's a series.
Yeah,
to really give the characters. Yeah, absolutely. But I think that unfortunately, the type of world this is set in, it's that kind of not medieval, but it's not progressed into a steampunk era. Yeah. It's too close to Game of Thrones at the moment. They're like that. People say, "Oh, it's a." Do you know what I mean? Like, but saying that, I think this is kind of I think this could be a timeless novel and be made. And I think there's a lot of action in here. I think also part of the reason that Game of Thrones is so attractive to it being made is the books aren't finished. So there's that kind of for a network, there's that kind of thing of going, we can make a lot of. There's still opportunity to make money out of this. Like it's got a, they normally are looking for a 5-year investment. Whereas with this, would it be a 3-year investment for the 3 books, or would it be more than that? I mean, these books are each probably about the same amount as a.
I just dropped a link in. I can't find a good photo of her, but this chick, She does BJJ, which is martial arts, and I think she'd be amazing.
Oh, yeah. No, she's got the look too. She's got the same look of that lady who played Mary too.
And she
she'd
look
be great.
really pretty at times as well. But she's got like the fitness side of it as well. Like she does all her own
she
stunts
totally
and
does.
stuff. Yeah. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
What is she?
I've seen her in a couple of movies lately, and she's like, I think she'd be able to do it.
No, she's totally got the look. Totally.
So will it shock you guys to hear that I've decided to not only give up on the Game of Thrones books, but the Game of Thrones TV show?
Well, there's a lot going on for you, Mel.
I have decided that I'm pissed off enough at it that I don't care anymore. And it's not because he killed people and stuff like that. I'm actually, the last episode I watched was...
I haven't watched any of the latest series, by the way, so just letting you know.
Oh, right. So don't spoil anything, Melanie. Don't say. Anyway, I should be at a happy point based on killings, but I'm not. And I don't really care anymore. I'm like, I'm over it. I'm over it.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things is that there's a investment point, and I can understand that you're kind of checking out because he still hasn't finished the series, and apparently it's not one more book. It's like two.
It's 2 more books.
Yep.
And it's not even that. I think the problem is that I'm just like, I can deal with a bit of gritty, but it's all freaking gritty.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm over it. Anyway.
I did make the mistake of watching it with my mother-in-law just after she finished the book, so she talks all the way through all of the episodes.
No, she needs to be quiet.
But it's better than her coming to me and saying, "Oh, I like this guy," and I'm like, "That guy dies." "Oh, I like this guy. That guy dies too." "Oh, this is my favorite character." I'm like, "Oh gosh."
Well, I think that's
oh no.
I think that's part of what's not helping me either. Is my partner's he was over it a few episodes before me, and I went ahead without him, and because he decided he didn't want to watch anymore, and I'm just like, I don't even have someone to watch it with anymore. So. I'd much prefer a happier story. I like a bit of happy.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I think with all of the sci-fi and fantasy reading I've been doing lately, I'm sort of remembering why I like to read romance.
Yeah. That's why I'm thinking, what's this one called that we're doing? I'm going to buy it now.
Orcs and Craig?
No, the trashy one.
Hunter's Claim.
Yeah, Hunter's Claim.
Hunter's Claim, right. Yeah, I'm going to buy it now.
It's under $4, so it's not
expensive. Well, it's a bargain.
Yeah. That's why I did it. I was like, I can't get it at the library. And I was like, you know what? It's under $4. It is not going to cost you that much. Go for it.
Yeah.
Actually, they've been talking on the forums. Apparently, Veronica actually wanted to pick this other book, but Felicia vetoed it because of having just finished Daughter in the Forest, which had some rapey stuff in it, and this one does as well. And she said, I don't want to do 2 books that have got rape in it. And everybody's going on how much better this other book is, and so I've decided I'm going to read that one as well because I'm like, that one actually.
What's the other one?
I don't mind it. I don't mind the bad books though. Like I know.
No, I do. I'm all gung ho for talking about this too.
I know because I think, and maybe this is where the rest of the VF people get let down, is that we've got Land Down Under to read really great books, right? So this is kind of our outlet as a group of going, we just like the trashier, the better, the one when we can snark and bitch, it's awesome, like, it was terrible, and this, and I was so pissed off, and, like...
And I also don't feel like every book has to have the depth of something like The Daughter of the Forest, where it's just this huge...
Well, that was the point of fictional fantasy. It was supposed to be those type of,
Light reads.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes we get serious, but,
I don't want balance of it, yeah.
Just Claim the Allegiance by S.E. Smith, right?
That's the one. The other
Excellent.
one is called The Last... Sorry, this is not the alt book, by the way. This is just the book that Veronica apparently wanted to choose but got vetoed.
Right.
It's called The Last Hour of Garn, Gann. And apparently it's interesting because like they're both aliens, so alien-human relationships, specifically romantic relationships. This one is interesting because it actually deals with the problems that would come from something like that, rather than it just being, oh, it's all okay and we're compatible. And
what
stuff.
was that book we read that was really good? We read it last summer as part of VF, and it was a sci-fi, and it was where she turned out to be a ghost planet, I think it was called.
Yes,
that was really good.
Yeah.
And like the aliens and stuff. That was good.
Yeah, she's actually brought another book out, but it's not a full-size book, so I haven't bothered to go for it yet. The other thing that's interesting about The Last Hour of Garn is apparently the aliens are lizards type creatures. So if you've
like
got...
V.
Sorry, like what?
Like V.
Yeah.
Am I showing my age?
Oh, there's actually a warning on it.
Is
Warning,
it?
this book contains graphic violence, strong sexual content, and explicit language. It is intended
lizards.
for mature readers only.
Well, I basically am interested in it because if you guys have watched Doctor Who and how they've got the... they're not aliens, they're actually they're pre-human intelligence species that they have in Doctor Who, and they're lizard-like creatures.
Oh.
And I'm like, that sounds cool, I like that. I've just downloaded the sample though. I'm going to give the sample a go, and if it's any good, I'll get it and read it because I need it. This is. Oh no! Apparently not like that. No.
Am I showing my age? Does anyone else other than me remember this series and it being so freaky? And like, she had
the series or the second series?
Oh, this is the first series. I never saw the second series, which had that chick from Lost in it.
The second series looks familiar to me, so I've obviously heard of it.
There a lizard baby there?
Yeah, that was the end. It was like, dramatic. Yeah, that's right. She ate the dog. That was really sad. Anyway,
what I've got in my mind. This is it.
Oh, cool. Hey, they look cool.
Yeah. So that's why I'm interested in this Garn one, because if it's anything like these kind of aliens, I think they'll be really good. So
they're really beautiful, actually. That's beautiful makeup. Oh, wow. She looks really familiar. Very cool.
Well, I've taken all my notes marks out of my book. I've just left the questions so that I can go back to them when we've read the third book.
Excellent. Excellent. There's last year. Oh, I might have to have a read of this. How big is this book?
Are you talking about the VF one?
I bought the VF one. I'm just looking to see how big this.
It's about 230 pages or something.
Oh, okay, it's not too bad at all.
Yeah, it's really quite short. It's and I won't comment on it more than that because
the last hour of Garn, I'm trying to work out how big that is.
Oh, that one I think from what I was told, it's a more fleshed out story.
Right. I might grab the sample as well. I like your thinking there, Mel.
That's what I do. If I'm really planning on reading it that week or something, then what I do is I just download the sample, because then I'll just read it, and if I like it enough, I'll buy it right away. I've got some samples that are sitting there for ages, though. I need to delete them out because if I haven't read them that quickly, I'm probably not going to. Where is it? It is. Oh, that doesn't seem that long to me, actually. Oh no, that's the size of the file, not the locations. I thought it was the number of locations. It actually doesn't list the number of pages. That's really weird.
Yeah, like the other one that I bought, the VF one, it did. It told me how many pages.
Right, I'm going to Goodreads instead to see if they've got it there.
Oh.
No. That's really unusual.
Oh,
maybe it's a
topless
Kindle.
people again. Like you always know you've got a VF book if you've got, torsos without heads.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the Garn one doesn't list the pages because it's Kindle only. I think it's a Kindle only published book.
Okay.
So the file size is 1,929 kilobytes, but that doesn't really tell you much at all.
How long will it take me to read it?
Look, if I end up getting it down, I'll let you know so that you can have an idea. Because once I get it down, at the very least, I'll have the number of locations, and that gives you an idea.
Cool.
So,
cool.
If I go for it, of course. I'm also trying to read this one too.
The the cover the cover for the first one, the Final Empire, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other cover, is that the matching same author? I just thought it would be a bit different.
You mean same artist or?
Yeah, like how you've always said, Mel, that you need to have them all the same.
Yes, this is the same. So my one, this one here is the one that you've got there, and my first one is the same cover as what you just showed me.
Oh, cool. I like the first cover better, I think, because although it's I liked how it had the blue lines, and I thought it was kind of cool.
I definitely did too, and the third one as well. I'm not as fussed on either, but the first one was enough for me.
What's the third one look like? Have you got it there?
No, I don't. Sorry, but give me a second and I'll bring it up. Here we go. There you go. It's in chat. Oh wait.
What?
Oh yes.
Oh, cool. It's getting closer and closer.
Yeah, it actually follows sort of a theme, so I like that. I actually got this series based on the first cover because I wasn't this version because I actually paid double the price to get these ones versus the old covers. But I really like these.
Yeah,
I like the old covers.
Are they which one are the old covers? Are those the ones I'm looking in here? And
they're the busy covers. They're really busy.
There's lots of busy.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's the work session. They're all busy. Okay, I see these ones where she's wearing like the thing with the purple sash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like them. If I hadn't seen these ones, I would have been happy enough. But these ones are just gorgeous to me. I love these covers. I love the design elements of it. I think it's just beautifully done. So.
Oh wow, that's a cool picture.
There's a lot.
Are you looking at the one where she's standing on top of the Colossus?
No. I don't know what it is. I think it's like Elendon Ven.
Is it the cover one? The Hero of Ages? Is that the one? What link am I looking at?
It's a wallpaper.
Sorry, there's another link here.
What is that?
Ooh, that is strange, isn't it? I'm going to guess that that's from book 3.
Is this that wallpaper that you just posted? Yeah, I was looking at that too. I thought it was cool. Like a Miss Spirits. Looks like Miss Spirits.
Yeah, very cool.
And there's, I thought this was kind of like, I just like seeing the Colossus in this one. I think I prefer an illustration to a photo, but I thought it was kind of cool.
Oh gosh, she looks like Arya there.
Totally.
It's funny how people create their own covers and things like that.
I think it's great. I mean, because if you end up with like someone like John Green and all those kind of guys and gals on your side, Maureen Johnson and stuff, then it could be that you end up at some point in the future being the cover of the book. That's the first one, but if they see something that captures it more beautifully, then you could end up that way. I think that's great to see fan art coming out.
No, I love it. It's gorgeous, but yeah.
And I think it's a classic thing about vaginal fantasy stuff that why Felicia talked about doing it in the first place is the covers are often so bad that the last thing that's considered, whereas the real fans of the books can really know how to bring it to life without giving away too much. So.
That's true. That's very true. And in fact, the other problem with the covers is often they depict things incorrectly because they haven't bothered to read the book itself. They've just been given a few
Yeah.
visual cues and.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think that if the illustrators are often given a brief, but they don't read the book or read enough of the book.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, I think to me, it's like a filmmaker bringing to life, like trying to make a movie when all they do is they've got the brief and they haven't bothered to read the script.
Mm. Yeah, very
It's
much
like,
so.
Here's the outline, go make the movie, as opposed to, or make the movie poster without actually having read the script. That's what it's kind of like. Make a movie poster. Yeah. Oh, which one?
Yes, that was one of the ones I tried.
That is
I tried to
cool.
use that, but because I couldn't cut her to be in the right size inside the banner, it drove me insane. I loved it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Although I can't really see her running around in that top.
No, I was going to say it's not very Vin-like. She has to be covered up.
Still awesome and powerful though.
Yeah, and I love seeing what's the name of the Lord Ruler's old palace? It's got like a Scottish name.
Oh.
Calm, something calm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that looks really good with all the.
Oh wow.
The
Artwork. That one too.
I'm going to look at, now that I've read it, and I'm not going to get anything given away, I'm going to look at Tensoon.
I'm going to put that one as my wallpaper.
I've still got A Natural History of Dragons as my wallpaper. Oh, wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Which one? What the Jack McGade one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Because that's what I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So cool. So many people so talented.
Can someone, maybe you guys discussed it last time, what is the point of the cloak other than looking awesome in my head when they're like doing their
it's
thing?
supposed to
Misty.
Misty. It's supposed to be misty so that it sort of is like a camouflage type thing in the mist.
Right.
I'm not quite sure how it's supposed to work to make it actually work. Anyway, to me it just seems to identify them as Mistborn.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, but and I mean, it looks cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can see it looks as cool as you think it would, but.
Well, that was the explanation that was given in the first book, but to me personally, I think that really it wouldn't work that well.
Stupid Windows 8. Just do what I tell you.
Sorry, what were you saying before about loving Windows?
Yeah, well, Windows 8 is new, all right? Give me a while.
Yeah, I know. I know because I had to use it recently. I had to use Windows 8 on a tablet. I'm like, God, it drove me insane.
I just want to set it as my background, you bastard.
I've actually still got the Night Circus as my background on my iPad.
That's very cool.
I'll do it manually then.
Pretty.
I can't believe there's no art of Vin with her dog other than this one. I just can't believe it.
Linky?
Vin is.
Maybe people didn't feel the same connection with Tombstone as we did.
Well, they're wrong.
What do they know? What do they know?
Yeah, what do they know? What do they know? Come on. He is awesome.
I agree.
Vin, Hound. What about, maybe I'll go fan art.
That's sometimes fun.
Just look up Tensoon.
But I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to all be given away, like the last one.
I'm going to have to go soon, guys. I've
What the
got a
hell?
big thing on tomorrow.
Yeah. I have to go too. I just like looking at pictures of, fan art with you guys.
Well, it's nice to look at fan art with people who actually appreciate it, because normally I'm sitting looking at it going, oh, this is awesome. I show my partner, he's like, yeah, whatever. Or he's like, isn't that porn again? I'm like, yes, but it's John Locke porn.
Oh. I just keep getting photos of Vin Diesel. It's really frustrating.
Vin Diesel.
Why?
Yeah.
When you look for the dog. Oh, Vin, right.
Yeah.
Oh, Vin, right. Okay. That makes more sense.
Yay, my background changed, finally.
Yay!
There's one here, but there's not really.
I've actually got 3 desktops running specifically so that I can have all 3 backgrounds from A Natural History of Dragons. It's so pretty.
I might put that down on my Goodreads list. Natural History of Dragons?
Yeah. But don't buy the Kindle version. You must get the hard copy, like the actual books. They're so beautiful. Well, you don't have to. How gorgeous. They're worth it.
So I'm adding. But I'm adding it to my list, you see, because we have something coming up in July.
Oh, that is a good Inquisitor.
Oh, let's have a look.
It's a little bust thing.
Oh.
Have you guys seen? Oh, I think I've seen that one. Have you guys seen the guy who went in costume as the Inquisitor? It was an amazing costume.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not one. Yeah, I saw. That's pretty impressive, huh? I remember seeing that one.
Pretty good.
We got a spell.
There is no Tensoon fan art. This is really annoying.
I know.
Maybe
I might
search Osor.
Oh, now that would be a cool costume.
I like Kendra.
I love this idea as a costume for Vin.
Oh, this is what I wanted to show you guys.
Vin? Really?
Is that Vin? That'd be that looks like
I'm not costume regardless. Oh no, it isn't. It is. You're right.
Yeah,
it is.
very
I found
cool.
a picture later. This is it's wrong window. Here we go.
Oh, go forward 3 photos, and you'll see there's both Zaid and Tynwall, and then there's Vin and Elend.
That's probably what I just linked to.
Oh, damn it! Is that Brandon Sanderson standing with them? Yeah, it looks like it's from his blog. That's cool. Wicked.
That Inquisitor is awesome.
Isn't that amazing? And see all the other photos in there as well.
Yeah.
That's commitment. I have no idea how that person sees.
They have mysterious ways.
I thought that was brought to life so amazingly, though.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Wow.
Anyway, guys, I'm actually going to sign off because I've got to do some work.
Oh, that's so cool.
Go to bed, and I've got to get up really early.
Yeah, I need to pee.
Okay.
That's another thing.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, it was good.
All right. Fun times, guys.
Hopefully I'll see you both at Vaginal
Okay.
Fantasy.
See you guys. See you guys soon.
Tear the book
Vaginal
apart.
Fantasy. When's that one?
Yes.
2nd of June.
Bring the snack.
Yeah.
Bring the snack. Yes.
Yay.
Bring the snack. Okay. Bye. Thanks,
All right,
Mel.
bye, guys.
Thanks, Jay. Bye.
Yeah.